Hi, Brett.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Sick.
Oh boy,
Yeah, my nose is running like crazy.
you just don't get a break, do you?
Uh,
Well, I'm gonna turn off the everyone's ability to unmute yourself just so that I can go back to my place in case the bombers come back. We hope they don't. Hi, Koriki. Hi, Goey.
Hello, everybody. It's set up. Use this one, wasting up one. Let's see, left my glasses in the other room. Let me see. Good to see you all. Hi, Ross. Antonio. Hey, Sid. Chica. Chica's looks like a small polar bear from here. What is Chica is pet polar bear? Mr. Nathan, good to see you. Oh, and Shonen. Always lovely. All right, let's get going. Well, hello, everybody. It's still the school summer vacation here, so people are off traveling, and my daughter's at home. But Leon, my son, he went back to college last week, so put him on a plane. So he's back in the U.S. So the house is a little quieter, I got to say. But good to have all of you sitting here. Let's just get started. Who's my Eno today? Okay, B, very good. We'll have our usual just sitting. Good to see you, Kaitan. All right, let's get going.
You can hear me okay, right?
Yep.
Okay. the heart of the perfection of great wisdom sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, awakened one of compassion in Prajnaparamita, the deep practice of perfect wisdom, perceive the emptiness of all five conditions and was free of suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is precisely emptiness, emptiness precisely form, sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. O Shariputra, all things are expressions of emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, neither waxing nor waning. Thus emptiness is not form, not sensation, nor perception, not formation, nor consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, nor object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, no end to ignorance, no old age and death, no cessation of old age and death, no suffering, nor cause or end to suffering, no path, no wisdom, and no gain, no gain. Thus Bodhisattvas live this Prajnaparamita. Hindrance of mind, no hindrance, therefore no fear, far beyond all delusion. Nirvana is already here, all past, present, and future Buddhas live this Prajnaparamita and realize supreme and complete enlightenment. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the sacred mantra, the luminous mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, by which all suffering is clear. This is no other than truth. Therefore set forth the Prajnaparamita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sangate Bodhi Swaha Hanya Shingyo. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the heart of the perfection of Great Wisdom Sutra, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Heihei Dogen Honored One, Soji Keizan Honored One, all successive Honored Ones up until Zuigaku Renpo Honored One, and Gudawafu Honored One, and all other honored ones throughout history, Same yet diverse, honored ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May we all realize and live the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Zazen? KINHIN. We will now have Zazen and a little talky talk. Shonin has one of her great hats. If you can hear me, make like, I don't know, an Ango. Just wave. Just wave. Okay. Good. We just appointed Onki as this year's alternative pass Shuso, who's going to help folks with various physical and mental struggles, or really any kind of seeming obstacle that might keep them from meeting all the demands, requests of our Ango and Jukai preparations. And some of us might think, well, that's for people who have health issues, not for the rest of us. But really not so. I'm here to say that we all should be and are on our personal alternative paths. We all need to find our way. But there are good ways to do that, and not so serious, not so good ways to do that, and I'd like to talk about that for a second. Master Dogen, very interesting fellow, you may have heard of him, wrote a section of his Shobogenzo called Ango, about how to do Ango. And it's extremely detailed in the rules. I mean, really, when to turn left, when to turn right, which fingers to use to do this. First you do A, then you do B, then you do C, and that goes on for pages and pages and pages. All the rules for all the ceremony of Ango, plus the attitude to have. Then at the end, he did a funny thing, very funny thing. After all these pages and pages of rules, he told a story about someone who broke all the rules, or almost all the rules, and that was okay. You see, in the story, you're having your 90-day Ango, and they pretty much lock the door. And so they get to the last day of the Ango, and who shows up but Manjushri? And he just drops in the last day. And Mahakashapa, who's kind of a stickler for the rules, says, hey, you can't do that. Where were you? And he gets ready to expel Manjushri from the whole Sangha, really. And the Manjushri says, well, you know, I was doing my Ango, just not here. I was 3 places. And it's very interesting, what those three places are said to be, and you can't take it literally. I take them, I scratched my head for a while on this, but they're really symbolic of something. It said that Manjusri did his Ango in a demon's palace, a rich man's house, and a bordello. And I thought, what? Ango in a bordello, that's an interesting twist. And the Buddha shows up at that point and says, hey, Mahakashapa, give it a rest. And he suddenly makes images projected showing Manjusri and Buddha and Mahakashapa everywhere in the universe. And he says to Mahakashapa, where is Ango not happening? Mahakashapa, of course, is dumbstruck. And Master Dogen at that point says, you see, everybody does Ango in their own way. He said a little nicer than that. He had a poem, and you know the way Master Dogen says. He said, elephants do things elephant ways, and I think he said, ducks do things duck ways, and everybody does it their way, something like that. Now, what was the thing about the demon's palace, the bordello, or the rich man's house? Well, don't take that too literally. I don't think it literally meant you can just, spend your 90 days drunk in a bordello. They're symbols for what? A demon's palace, anger, rich man's house, material temptations, a bordello. Well, we know what that's a symbol for. It's being out in the world with temptation. Manjusri was out, out there, outside the monastery, in the world, where all the trouble happens. That's what it meant. And the Buddha said, yep. And Dogen said, yep. That's an Ango too. And that's for us. And Dogen was funny in other ways. He would tell these stories about all these officers of the temple, and then he would inevitably tell a story about some guy who was like, let's say, the gardener, who just did some terrible thing and broke all the rules. And you would think, Dogen, man, you're all for all these rules. I used to call Dogen, by the way, I had a term for him. I called him, it would be a little Freudian, Dogenal retentive. I really think he had a little ODC at times. But then he'd tell at the end, after he'd lay out all these rules, he'd tell the story about this guy who, for example, he was the gardener, but he was down there in the garden house and drinking wine, and he had some girls in. Really, there's a story like that. And Dogen seemed to kind of not approve of it, but not disapprove either. And I thought, what is that about? Well, then I thought for Dogen, I really don't think they were on 24/7, how to say, on duty 24/7. I've seen this a lot in Japan. When there's an official time, the guy gets all serious and official, and you do things a certain way. And then when that's over, he kind of puts that down, and it's like you're talking to a different person. I've seen this all over Japan. For example, if you're a judge here, you have to have the proper robes, and you walk in a certain way, and you have a certain look on your face, and you talk like a judge up there in the courtroom. And then when you meet the judge afterwards, he's like some schmo. I mean, he's like just a funny guy. It's really, because he's not the judge right now. And I bet you it was like that at Eiheiji with Dogen too. Those guys could not have been on, that strict, that serious all the time. I've never seen it in any monastery in Japan. I've never seen it, with martial artists here. When in martial arts times, they get serious. They're on the mat. And then they get off and they're just like, a guy. So I bet you it was more like that with Dogen than we respect. And as a matter of fact, I get all up in my thing when I see people who are either too loose or too tight. You see, here's the thing. One of the great things that happened, if you ask me, and I'm going to say American Zen. I'm not saying it's just America, but pretty much this developed out of American Zen is people learned an old Zen lesson, which is be serious, be sincere, don't get caught in the rules. And you sometimes lose that even here in Japan, where they sometimes get so caught in the rules and just doing it the way, the heart just drops out of it. They're just going through the motions. It's like my sister was a classical and also modern ballet dancer, and she'd work and work and work to follow the choreography precisely. It never was precise, but she came as close as she can. It's a very serious thing. And it's a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong, because when you follow the choreography of dance, you literally lose yourself in the motions and find yourself again. So it can be a wonderful way of practice. I am not criticizing people who find their freedom in that. I'm just saying that's not the only way you need to be. One of the things we found in American Zen is if you're sincere and dedicated, and even if you don't follow all the rules sincerely, strictly, I should say. If you follow, you have to be dedicated and sincere, but if you don't follow the rules strictly and kind of, do it a different way, it's still excellent Zen. This is what Treeleaf is about too. Now, don't get me wrong. I see people, they're too careless, just, sitting there, just doing anything, don't care, it doesn't matter. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying between following the rules strictly and not giving a damn is a good place. And I have seen 101 Zen teachers in Sangha in America. I don't know Europe that well, sorry. But I've seen it in Europe too. I was in France and different places. And it's great. Now, sometimes I've seen Sangha that try to be more Japanese than the Japanese. I hate that. I think that's, if they find their joy there, more power to them. But I think that's just trying to act Zen. I don't like that. I'd rather see the guy who kind of switches it up, but he's sincere and dedicated and is there every day and really doing his thing, and he means it, even if it's not exactly according to Dogen Zenji's rules, like that. So that's how we are all alternative paths folks, not just in Ango and Jukai, but in all our practice. And what I want you to be. You're here, you're sitting Zazen. Don't ever compare yourself. Gee, I'm sorry, I'm here. I wish I was in Japan doing it the right way. No. Are you sincere? Are you dedicated? I'm looking over there. Let's see. I see a bunch of faces I recognize who are here with me almost every week. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You're doing okay. Better than okay. Don't worry that you're not living like some 13th century monk. Got my point? So that is what I mean by being on the alternative path. Sincere, dedicated, doing it in our somewhat modified ways, out in the world, here in the land of the demon's palace, the rich man's house, and yes, the bordello. Here we do our practice, not getting caught in the attachments of those places. Sincere. I think Dogen Zenji, with all his little rule-breaking stories, would actually give us a wink. Okay, let's sit. We will now recite the verse of atonement and the 4 vows. Please do so exactly as Master Dogen instructed us.
All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable.
Oh, I just broke the rules. Yeah, what I was doing. I just broke the rules. I went to light the incense again. I forgot there was, oh no, it's candle putting out time. So anyway, we're going to have tea if anybody wants to stick around. For everybody else, this is a lesson, for all of life. Walk your life alternative path this week. Not too loose and careless now. Don't get caught in the demons' palaces and the rest of it of life. But at the other hand, not too tight either, right? Not too tight either. Just walk that alternative path. Okay? To those who can stick around, see you in a bit. The rest of you have a good alternative path walk. See you guys later. See who's sticking around here. Good. Jeffrey Nathan. Jeffrey